Order. I call Alyssa Smaling.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would just like to acknowledge that my kōrero does contain sensitive language. Sexual violence. It makes you uncomfortable, right? Sexual violence. And that is exactly why we need to have this kōrero and why we need to have it now. It affects our tamariki, our wahine and our tāne. What does sexual violence look like in our communities, in our country? In 2018, 5,938 cases of sexual violence were reported to police across NZ. Headlining, reports of sexual assault in schools and universities are up 70%. It's in our education system. Attending Horowhenua College in Levin has its privileges, but it's in our education system, and we neglect the issue of sexual violence in our communities, abandoning, mistreating and ignoring the issue many of our students face, and I know this happens in kura throughout New Zealand. Representing the Otaki lecture is very honourable. Although Otaki is a small community, our family and domestic violence, which includes sexual violence, has one of the worst rates across NZ. Many things influence such a high number. Lack of resources for both physical and mental health provided to our families. Our lecture has one of the lowest income rates, but also one of the highest suicide rates per capita across the country. What are we doing in this space? My question to you is why a victim of sexual violence spends their life in consequence, but a perpetrator gets 12 months home detention and 100 hours community work for raping a woman? Where was the justice? The government is meant to ensure our safety, but right now 23% of our rangatahi are promised their body and rights are to be stripped of them, resulting in just another sexual violence case. It is time for it not to be just another sexual violence case, but a time for the government to assure the safety of our tamariki, of our wahine, of our tāne, to assure the safety of us. To do that, I urge the government to, 1, assure that in our education system we are taught that sexual violence is not okay. 2, rather than chucking money at this issue, the government needs to promise us our safety and put preventative measures in place. 3, the government needs to assure that the punishment fits the crime. In 2022, 7,159 cases of sexual violence were reported to police across NZ. Over the past 5 years, there has been a 20% increase in these statistics. Although these numbers are already one more than that number should have been, the reality is not all sexual violence incidents are reported to police. 8%. 8% is a small amount of incidents reported. And that is why this kōrero needs to happen, and it needs to happen now.
I call Scarlett Shannon.